So today we want to share with you a little experience that we had a little over a year ago. And this experience involved us having to leave Ukraine because of the war. We basically had to flee the country. But the story also involves the concept of feminism. And it was something that I realized as we were trying to get through the border after 52 hours of basically traveling in a car, pretty much going nowhere, seeing tanks and military equipment, and seeing families trying to get through there, men, wives, and children. And it was something that I'll never forget. So if you guys didn't know, or some of you guys may not know, is that we were in Ukraine when the war started. We were living in Odessa.
So I will try to introduce you a little bit to Soviet Union culture and tell you how it was. So here we saw the leads, and stryker asked me why here's a cork. So I have no idea why in Soviet Union they make it metal, so it was super hot to hold when you cook something. And you should, there was two ways to do, either to use a piece of cloth and lift it, or put a cork, and so it was not that hard to pick it up.
And we were woken up to huge explosions that night as Russia was bombing the city and exploding rockets above the city.
It was unprovoked, but this is what Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed on Ukraine as the sun came up this morning. A missile striking an industrial park in western Ukraine. A helicopter assault on an airport outside of Kiev. Close, intense fighting.
And so the next couple of days were pretty strange. It was pretty surreal, for me anyway, who had never lived in a country that was at war with anyone else from New Zealand. The day is the 24th of February. It is 2:50 p.m. and I'm currently in Odessa, Ukraine. So it's been a very interesting day, very scary day this morning. Just thought I would try and keep a diary of it. Maybe someone wants to watch it in the future or something. But yeah, it's something that we thought wasn't going to happen, and of course it obviously did. It took us all by surprise. I mean, I woke up to something this morning. Didn't know what it was. Went back to bed, and then I heard the most bone-shattering explosion that rattled everything. So that was pretty scary. That was probably, I would say, hands down, probably the most scariest moment this morning when I realised that Ukraine was being attacked. So it was all very new to me, and it was kind of hard to sort of comprehend, and you didn't really know what you should do, whether it would be finished soon or anything like that. But I think was it this 2 days after the war, right?
Mm-hmm. On the second day.
Yeah, second day after the war, we thought, okay, look, we're going to have to go because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the city's going to blow up or anything like that. We have a business there, we have apartments there, we have our lives there. And basically grabbing a backpack with some socks and your toothbrush and just walking out and locking the door and never knowing if you're ever going to go back again was a pretty weird, pretty strange emotion to have, right? It was something I'd never experienced before. So anyway, we got in the car and we were driving to Moldova, which is normally like a 3-hour drive, right? A 3-hour drive, we'd done it once before. And we got pretty close and we thought, okay, we're here. It's like 3 hours later, can't be that hard to get through it now. So we ended up staying basically in the car going nowhere, freezing cold, for about 52 hours to try and get through this border.
Good morning, it's 7 a.m. and we still didn't make it to the border.
Guys, good morning. It's 7:06 a.m. Somebody messaged me and say, "Are you safe and sound?" This means something different for me now. People just walking. I don't know where they left their cars. They're just walking along the road, and from two lines that's supposed to be actually one line this way and another line this way, there's 5 lines that way to the border.
And there was so many different realizations that was going on in my mind. One was appreciate life. One was, what am I going to do now? There was all these ideas, and we really had no idea what was going to happen or where we were going. And one thing that I can't stop thinking about this And I think that's the reason why I wanted to make this video, because I kind of want to get it off my chest. And, you know, we do videos about feminism in the West and modern women and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, there's always some pushback somewhere. You know, women are saying, well, we need to be more empowered, we need equality, we need equal rights, all this sort of stuff. Well, what happened to me that day, that morning, was the sun rose, still freezing cold. I thought I'll walk down to the checkpoint between Moldova and Ukraine, and I'm just going to go and just see what's happening down there. So I walked down there, and I was sitting on the grass outside there, and I was just watching people go through. And what I could see was men and their wife and 1 or 2 kids dragging a suitcase that has broken wheels because they've walked 5 kilometers because their car is 5 kilometers back, as he carries one kid on his shoulder and he's holding the hands of one kid. And they get to the border, and there was a separate line for people that were walking through as opposed to all the cars that were trying to get through, which is all just a mess. And they would get to the border and you'd see a little bit of chit chat between the guy and whatever, as he tried to convince them that, you know, he has to come through for whatever reason. And the border police would say, you have to go back, because there was strict instructions that men of military age could not leave the country. So, and they posed that rule, so men could not leave the country. So I watched as men hug their kids, kiss their wife goodbye, possibly for the last time. And I'd say for many of those thousands of men that were lined up there on that particular morning, that is probably the last time that they actually did see their kids. You know, the wife and the 2 kids, they went through with their broken suitcase and their backpack on their back. And the guy had to turn around, find his car, turn around or whatever, and go back and wait for his papers to go fight in the war and maybe die in the war in a trench somewhere cold and alone from his family. And it was such a, you know, you'd seen those things on the news before about, you know, people fleeing the country. You see it all the time, like in the Middle East, and you became so desensitized to it that you almost didn't think anything of it. You may even be excused for just changing the channel and going, I've seen it all before. But when you actually witness it in real life, it makes you think about so many things. And so when I see these feminists, and that's maybe that's in, you know, it's deep set inside me, that's why I get so frustrated with these feminists and why we do videos about how ridiculous they are, and I could do a bunch more, is that I saw that the women didn't have to go and fight. They could go and live their lives, you know, with the children. And that's a good thing, because, you know, women do need to go off, take care of the children, possibly have more children, because that's how the human race is going to survive anyway. Women can only produce a certain amount of children, whereas men can produce a ton of children, right? Men are expendable, right? We'll say that. But what I always thought, or what I thought at the time, and what I've thought all the time since then, like many times since then, was that these women that are on like these podcasts complaining about, you know, equality and all those things, is to, if there's ever a war, go and sit on the border and watch how women get to walk through and men have to go back and pick up a gun. And these men, these are not soldiers. These are like a barber, a guy that works in Starbucks, a guy that, you know, is a receptionist at the gym or whatever. Just normal people that are going about their lives, and then all of a sudden one day they're no longer a computer programmer. They now have to learn how to use a rifle and a gun, and they have to go and run through mud and hopefully not get blown up by a drone or a missile coming from above them. And this is why I think the concept of this equal rights and feminism is so ridiculous. And so maybe some people see this, you know, we talk about feminists and we think, oh, how dare you say those things? It's because of what I witnessed when I had to go through the border when the country was under attack by Russia. It's just, I just saw the total inequality, and it was a good thing, because women do have to go through with the children. And it's a good thing, you know. If it was equal, that would stop the women and the men. And I don't know what they do with the children. Send them off somewhere else and say, no, you both equally have to fight this war, because you are both equal. You've been fighting for equal rights your whole life. Here it is. Let's go. But they would never accept that anyway. The feminists would never accept it. They want the good, but they don't want the bad. The men, we have to take the bad. We don't get a say in it. We don't get to say we don't want to go and fight in a war. Yes, we want to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, right? We get to make that decision, but we don't get to make the decision if you're in a country and you have to pick up a gun and possibly get your leg blown off and never be able to walk again. So, I don't know, I just wanted to share the story with you guys. If anyone is wondering like why we think feminism is so stupid, I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't. But I'm trying to explain it in the best way that I can, and it's difficult for me to tell stories like this. Because I don't know, I can't get what's inside me out. But it was an unreal experience, and you know, if anyone would witness that, you would think that feminism isn't, and what they're talking about, modern day feminism, I'm not talking about like the first wave, but modern day feminism, you would laugh at it and you would think that it's an absolute total joke, and it's disrespectful to women and it's disrespectful to men. Those are my thoughts anyway for today.
And you know, when I do the calls, a lot of time, like every single time when I do the calls for our clients with the Ukrainian lady, and the lady is asking, but why, like, may I ask this question? And everybody, it's interesting how they place the question. Can I ask you, is it okay if I ask, like, why are you looking for the lady so far? Like, why are you looking for Ukrainian lady? And the guys, most of the time, they try to explain that, like this feminism, but they always very like careful because they scared that then they can offend the lady. But me being in US many times and being on the West many times and living there a little bit, like, it's hard to explain until you really see that with your own eyes. Like, it's really difficult. And I, maybe because I never experienced that myself, like I've been working in different industries, and I never felt, like, I truly believe that at least in Ukraine, like, if you are good, if you are smart, if you are sharp, like, there is no discrimination in getting like positions and job. Like, if you are really good, like you literally can do it. And I was always admiring and respect that there is a like very straight difference between man and woman, you know, and it was in all movies, in all cartoons, everywhere. It was like, it was differentiation, and so this is how we grew up. And that's why I really hope that Ukrainian ladies for many more generations will still and will keep this like this flame inside them, with this feminine side of them, and will be willing to create a family and cherish that as they usually do. And maybe some guys, they do experience something else when there's like some maybe Ukrainian lady who become like some CEO, or we have a friend who, like, she's 42, never been married, but she's like super strong and independent, but deep inside, like, we know that she's very tender, she's nice, but unfortunately the social circumstance put her in a position that she need to fight, she need to help her old parents, and so it's very difficult for her to be like a boss at work and try to be feminine. Like, this is what sometimes happening with these ladies, but most of them, and also like if she will find a man who will open up that with her, like who will be willing to open up that with her, like she's the most feminine, like how much she cook, how much she care, how much she like everything about her.
There's a difference though, like, and I understand sort of why you think like that, because like you've never been exposed to it. But that's not really what feminism is. So if a woman wants to work hard because of survival, she needs to, because she has children, or she just has some drive and ambition to create a business or something like that. That's not feminism in
it's
itself.
Like the way she treat the man, right?
It's the mentality, it's the ideology that men and women should be created equally, and that women want what men have. But the problem is that the women look at the small substrata of men who are hyper successful at the top, and they go, it's not fair they're up there. But the reason that they are up there is because they're driven, they work hard, they work a lot more hours than what women do. They don't have to bear children, which takes them out of the game for a while, but they don't see that. And so what I'm saying is that they see these hyper successful men at the top, and they say, well, we want that, we're going to fight to have that. And I'm saying, well, what about the man that has to stay and pick up a gun and go to war and fight for his country and for his family and for his children? Do you want that? And the answer is no. And that's why feminism, I believe, is complete and total bullshit.
But maybe they will see this video and they will rethink about something. Like maybe one woman,
We have quite a few subscribers who are feminists. But those are just some thoughts. Anyway, we were just talking about them, and I thought, you know what? Let's put out the camera and let's make a video. What are your guys' thoughts? Anyway, put them in the comments down below, and we will see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.